Okay. If you are somebody who is following the nutrition plan the way that it's written and you're still having roadblocks and you're still not getting anywhere, this call is basically to help you kind of get over that hump. Okay. Or just to kind of re-educate you on like the different tools that Beachbody has to offer when it comes to nutrition. Okay. So here's the deal. Nutrition is about 80% of the results that you're going to get. You can't work out every day and eat everything that you want and still expect to get the results that you're looking for. It just doesn't work that way. So 80% of your results is definitely going to come from your nutrition. And for most people, that's the hardest part. Committing to a 30-minute workout every day, no big deal. But to commit to eating healthy and making good choices 24 hours a day, or, you know, whatever, 16 hours a day when you're awake, that's hard, right? 30 minutes is nothing. 16 hours every single day, it's hard work. But you just have to make that commitment, and you have to want the results and want to feel better and want to be healthier more than you want the potato chips or the soda. Okay. So I'm kind of going to talk mostly about Ultimate Portion Fix. I feel like this is the most comprehensive program. I know the majority of people that I work with are using the Ultimate Portion Fix. And so I want to talk a little bit about, do you have access to the program, where you can find it on your Beachbody On Demand, how you can view it on your phone or how it looks a little different on your phone, and then alternative plans, and then what do you do if you don't have access to the Ultimate Portion Fix? Because I know there are still some people in the bootcamp who don't have access to it yet. So let's start with how to find it. I'm going to share a different screen here. Okay, let's see. Can you guys, oh gosh, let's see. Amanda, I can still see you. Can you see this new screen? Can you see my Beachbody On Demand? Okay, perfect. So where you're going to look for Ultimate Portion Fix is going to be down here in your nutrition center. Okay, you might have to scroll a little bit to find it. And then this is the program. It's the one with Autumn in a red tank top. That's what I always tell people. Okay, so once you open that up, you're going to find a lot of tools. Of course, my internet is slow, so this might take a second. And this will look the same on your phone to this point. Okay, where you want to go is to lessons. Guys, a lot of the times this will be stuck on the start here part, and there's a 8-minute video and then a couple of introduction videos. That is not the program, okay? That's just like a little bit of information about the program. And I ask people all the time, did you watch the videos? And they tell me, yeah, I did. I didn't see the part about the brackets though. It's because you were watching the start here and not the lessons. Okay, so you wanna go into the lessons, and there are all these modules, you guys. So 1, 2, 3, like all the modules, and there are multiple videos per module. So there's about 30 training videos when all is said and done. So talking about how the program works, why it works, picking your path, whether it be foundational fix, which is just basically eating your containers at whatever time of day, making sure you get all your containers in, but mixing and matching how you want. The timed nutrition mixes and matches those for you. So it tells you, okay, at lunch you need this, at breakfast you need this. And for me, I find it easier to follow that because I don't end up at the end of the day with like all of my veggies left to eat. It really spaces everything out really well for me. And then carb cycling is not something you're gonna follow regularly. That's just something like if you have an event that you want to shed like 4 or 5 pounds for, you can do that for a couple of weeks. But again, all of these videos have way more information in them. And if you haven't sat down and watched these yet, watch them. And I say watch them loosely because you can just like listen to them in the car on your way to work or whatever. You don't have to be watching them to understand. Okay. And then finding your bracket. So knowing how much you should be eating. And then it talks about the food lists and things like that. If you want to be following the vegan plan, that's in there too. Meal prepping, using this with your kids, talking about it with your kids, special days, special events, and then every situation. So like for me, over the past 2 years, I've had to recalculate in all these different ways, being pregnant and then postpartum and then pregnant and then postpartum. So all of these videos were really helpful for me, okay? And then of course, like she always has all these little extras that sometimes change right in here, okay? So that is that. But what I want to share here is what you're going to see on your phone as well. Okay, so it looks a little different on your phone. Oh, actually, let me go back to that for one more second. If I go back in here, So if you're here and you click on, let's see, one of them that I know has, okay, the deep dive into the food lists, right? So if you click on those three dots, you're going to find the food list in a PDF form right here. Okay. And so I just wanted to show you, you can find that too on your phone. So the way to do that, if you come into the Ultimate Portion Fix on your phone, then you're going to go to lessons, you're going to pick your lesson, and then you're going to click on the name of the video, not the video, but the name of the video. And this is what pops up. So then you have the option to click on the PDFs. Okay. All right, so I'm going to stop my share for just a second. Can you guys all still see what I'm sharing and hear me? I just want to check in. Okay, perfect.
And you can also always find the food list in your specific program in the material section of your specific program.
Yeah, so if you're
in all the nutrition guides.
Yeah, you can find it really in so many different places. And then if you have, so if you are if you're an iPhone user, you will have Beachbody On Demand, and then you can also have the nutrition app. Okay, the Beachbody Nutrition app, it looks just like Beachbody On Demand, but it's orange. The logo is orange. Okay, and in there you can also access all of the food lists. I have my Wi-Fi shut off on my phone right now, or else I'd show you. But just above where all of your containers are listed, like what you have for containers, there's like a little button that says food lists. Okay, and then you can open those right up on your phone. And then the other thing is too, and I've had a couple of people ask me, oh, somebody's chatting. Okay, on an Android, it's different because you have all of that tracking ability right in your Beachbody On Demand app. So you don't need the separate app. So we can, Shelby, we can talk about that a little bit more, but it should be right in your Beachbody On Demand app. Down at the bottom, there should be a section for tracking. Okay. But for iPhone users, you have to have a separate app to track. Silly, but hopefully they'll change that at some point. Oh, more people trying to join in. Okay, so yeah, I'm hoping that they will fix that for iPhone users as well. And then, so something that has come up in conversation a lot too is on that nutrition app where it shows you what you have left for containers. I had somebody ask me a couple weeks ago, like, it won't let me change that. There is an edit button. So, but you can't say like what plan you're in. You have to go in and edit each, like go up and go down of like what each of those containers are. So you have to look at your meal plan, know what you're getting, and then put that in manually. Does that make sense? Okay. So here we are. Common causes of failure, guys. 1, failing to plan. First of all, that's the biggest one, right? So you haven't gone grocery shopping in 7 days, and now all of the healthy food that you had in your house is gone, and you're resorting to eating cereal and things like that for dinner, right? Chat. On the nutrition app, you can click on the container and food list pops up for that container. Yes, that too. If you click on the container, you can see the food list pop up, or you can open up the food list separately. Thanks, Mom. And then not prepping your meals, not having your meals prepped. So same thing, dinner time comes, you're so hungry because you had a crazy busy day, you missed your snack in the afternoon, and you're so hungry that you need a bowl of cereal. Okay.
Or a Hot Pocket.
Okay. And then not planning ahead for treat meals and nights out. So not planning ahead meaning, okay, you know you're going to order pizza tonight with your family, but you still had 3 carbs throughout the day. You could have avoided the carbs throughout the day so that you had all of your carbs to use for pizza, right? Same thing with your fat or whatever. Or you haven't eaten veggies all day, but you know, those 3 slices of pepper on your pizza aren't going to make up for not having veggies all day, you know? So just planning ahead, if you know you're going to be going out to dinner, think ahead. Check know what you're going to be eating. I know for me at certain restaurants, I always know what I'm going to get, or like I'll look at the specials to see what I'm interested in, like that morning or that afternoon, so that I know, okay, I'm going to save a couple carbs because I want to eat something a little carby tonight, right? So planning ahead, that's key to success all the time. And that's one of the biggest reasons why people fail. Okay. Trying to be too perfect. So eliminating your favorite foods, saying, I'm never going to eat this again. That's not realistic. And what ends up happening is you crave those foods and then you say, I'm just going to binge on that. Or, you know, you end up buying it and you eat it all, like say it's chips, right? And you eat that whole bag in one sitting. If you try to completely eliminate something from your diet, the odds of you being able to do that, if it's something you enjoy, are very slim. And the other thing is then you have that treat and you're like, okay, well, I screwed up. I ate that bag of chips. Might as well start over on Monday. Well, it's only Tuesday, so you have 5 more days where you could be making up for that. But you're waiting until Monday. So you let like little slip ups like that, or you let little things completely derail you, and you end up giving up for the rest of the week or whatnot. And when I say make up for it, I don't mean don't eat carbs the rest of the week. I just mean get right back on track. That is huge, guys. Like if you have a slip up, or even if you have a planned slip up, like we're going to have pizza tonight. We had pizza for John's birthday on Tuesday. I didn't think twice about it because I know that the rest of the day my nutrition was good. I saved my carbs for pizza and I got right back on track on Wednesday morning, right? Like you don't have to beat yourself up or completely fall off track for the rest of the week just because you had pizza one night, right?
Yeah, one meal, or I mean even one day, but just say one meal doesn't ruin a week of hard work unless you let it ruin a week of hard work, or unless you make it ruin. Like if you're Wednesday night, you have a couple slices of pizza and you're like, oh, that was terrible, so let's go crazy the rest of the week. Like, no, that's not what you need to do. Do the opposite of that. Acknowledge the fact you had some pizza. Cool, great. Now crush the rest of your week.
Right, move on. And I only laugh because that was my mindset for the longest time. And it's so common to be in that mindset of like, well, I already ate this. I might as well eat all of the other things too that I want. And then I'll start over on Monday. No, next week, have something else that you want. If you're craving a donut, eat a donut next week. Pizza is never terrible. Crystal would say that. Okay, moving on. Under eating, guys. Okay, this sounds kind of
sounds counterintuitive to so many people, so many people, and I talk about it a lot because I'm really passionate about it, but it's one of the most widespread issues that I see, mostly probably because I pick up on it. Like if you have a red car, you see other red cars, but like under eating stops a lot of people from reaching their goals long term.
Right. And so 90% of the people, 75, at least 75% of people who come to me, they're like, I can't lose that last 10 pounds. I'm struggling so much. I need your help. What am I doing wrong? And I actually had a conversation with somebody last night about this. And I said, well, what do you typically eat in a day? That was my first question for her. And her list was like, she was eating like 2 carbs a day and 2 proteins a day. Like it was so little. And she's like, well, I really should be right around 112. She's short like me. I should be right around 112, but I'm up in like almost 120 right now. Well, the reason for that is she's under eating and her body is holding on to fat for later because it feels like I'm being starved. I need to hold on to something in case I'm starved again tomorrow, right? So it's going to hold on to that extra fluff any little bit that it can for those moments of like super hunger, right? And then it slows down your metabolism. And the other thing, guys, is the majority of us are also working out. And if you're under eating, you are putting yourself at risk for injury and super fatigue. You're going to wear yourself out if you're working out and you're not eating enough to fuel your body to be doing the workouts that you're doing, right? So this is huge, guys. And it is, like I said, one of the number one things that I see both with people who are wanting to join and then people who are in, they're still under eating. And I've had conversations with plenty of you guys this week, actually, about bumping you up brackets. And most people who have bumped up brackets are already telling me they're feeling a difference. My mom being one of them, just saying. I told you so. And so trusting the process. This goes hand in hand with under eating. So you have to trust the process. If Autumn and her calculation puts you in plan B, eat in plan B. Don't say, oh, it feels like too much. I'm going to stick with plan A. No, that's not your plan. That's not where you're supposed to be. So if you're making your own versions of the plan, or you're like, well, I calculate in plan C, but I don't quite want to eat that much, so I'm going to eat plan B, but add my carb because that's my favorite, or add a fruit because I want to have one more fruit in the day. Don't make your own plans and follow the plan that you're put in. I promise you guys, like that's the only way I can guarantee you results is if you're following the nutrition the way that it's meant to be followed for you and where you're at. Okay. Okay. Do you have anything to add to that?
No.
Okay. So
that's a good place to start with that. So.
2 things. I promise you guys, I know some of you jumped on here because you're curious about the Sagi plan that John mentioned, and we're going to get to that, I promise. But I'm going to have Nicole. Nicole, are you on here?
I'm here, girl.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna have Nicole talk a little bit. I put my picture and I put Nicole's picture because so many people tell me I'm scared to eat more food. I want to lose 5 or 10 more pounds. I don't want to eat more. It's gonna slow down my progress. So this was me. I always was a plan A girl. I was always a plan A girl. I'm like, I'm so small. How could I need more food than that? No, I was wrong. This was me eating in plan C. Okay. That is 1,800 to 2,100 calories a day. Okay. And between January and March, this was last year, I lost 12 pounds eating in plan C, 12 pounds on my small 5-foot figure eating in plan C. Okay. And then Nicole, since the start of her journey in June, has been eating in plan F. How many calories is that, Nicole? What's that bracket? You don't know?
I don't even know. John probably,
It's like
25 to
25 to
28.
28.
A lot.
25 to 2,800 calories a day. And this girl has shed 50 pounds in the last 6.5, 7 months. Okay. So I'm just going to let Nicole talk on this a little bit because, yes, she needs to.
Your life. Yeah. So when Kristen told me about the calculator and I did it out and I realized I was actually off of the chart, like, to be honest. Your girl was off the chart. So I'm eating in plan F, but when she first told me that and I looked at it, I was like, there's no freaking way. Like, I can't eat 8 greens, 8 vegetables a day, like 7 proteins, 5 carbs. Like, that's a lot of food. And it was definitely daunting. I was like, that's crazy. But look at the progress I've had. I've stuck to that plan. I mean, there's times, like John and Kristen just said, like, I enjoy my pizza. I have a treat. I ate a donut the other day and I wasn't eating 5 donuts and I enjoyed that one donut. And there's just so much that goes along with this journey and like having that food freedom and not being so fixated on, oh my God, I ate that, I'm going to gain 50 pounds back. And that literally was my mentality. And that's ridiculous. Like, you're not going to gain 50 pounds back in a day from eating one donut. But I feel like so many people are just stuck in that mindset. But honestly, just like trusting the process, like Kristen said, and following what Autumn did with Ultimate Portion Fix. Like, this isn't some made up thing that's just, yeah, give it a shot. Like, it's going to work. Like, I started my journey at 320 pounds and I'm down to 269. And that's from eating in plan F, eating a crap ton of food. Some days it's hard to get those containers in, but as long as you're following it to the best of your ability and, truly following it, not just making up your own scenario and your own plan, like half and half this, half and half that, like just following it, you're going to see results. And it's crazy. Like, I'm still in like disbelief sometimes that it worked as well as it did, but you just have to do it. Like, just do it. It's all
Just do it.
Just do it. And I'll add, when I was doing it, I was obviously going the opposite way. I was trying to build a little muscle. But when Kristen and I did 80-Day Obsession, where her pictures are from, I finished 80-Day Obsession in plan F myself. And at 153 pounds, it's a lot of food for anybody, but it is a adjustment mentally for so many people. So many people look at 2,500 to 28 calories and just say, no, there's no way, that doesn't make any sense. Especially if they've been on the 1,000-calorie 4 salad a day diet plan. Like, it's just like, boom, blows their mind. They're out. Doesn't work.
Right.
So,
and the thing is too, like, the more body weight that you carry, the more fuel you need to get through your day. Like, that's just how it works. And like Nicole said, she was really hesitant, but she just went all in. And I'm telling you, she from day one went all in. Like, she messaged me once and she was like, girl, I totally messed up today. I did not get a green in. And I'm like, oh yeah, you totally messed up. Like, I'm telling you, she was all
tragedy.
in day one. And look what it's done for her. Like, oh my gosh, it's life-changing, guys. And I'm not saying you have to be 100% all the time, but the more on point that you can be, if you're somebody who is like really wanting those results, just follow the plan. And Nicole mentioned it too. She said it in a different way than I did, and I liked her way, but don't mix and match, right? Like, don't be like, oh, well, keto says to do this, but Autumn says to do this, and then kind of like try to find a happy medium. There's no happy medium when it comes to meal plans. If you're following one, the way that it's written that way in its entirety for a reason, right? So don't try to like mix and match plans. And don't be like, oh, I'm scared of carbs, so I'll eat everything else, but I'm not going to eat my carbs. You need your carbs. Everybody needs their
Those are
carbs.
my favorite things.
Right, yeah, me too, right? Like when I got into Plan C, I'm like, oh my gosh, I get 4 carbs. This is like, this is the best day of
Give
my
me
life.
them all. Give me all the
Right?
carbs.
Yeah, give me all the carbs. Okay, so couple more things. 3 different ways of eating. Obviously, if you need to lose weight, if you want to maintain your weight and like gain some muscle tone, lose the fluff, but you're like almost where you need to be. So like if you have 10 pounds or less to lose, I definitely recommend you're eating in maintenance. If you have less than 10 pounds to lose, do not calculate for weight loss. Okay? Calculate in your maintenance. 100%, you're going to feel better, you're going to function better, you're going to get more out of your workouts, and all of those things are going to help you lose the weight faster. Okay? And then weight gain, obviously, if you're somebody like John looking to build muscle, if you're somebody like Katie who is getting ready for the classic, which is a physique competition, she's eating in weight gain, I believe, right? Or she has been. So that's very specific to if you're looking to build muscle. But there's also something that you need to be clear about. If you're somebody my size and you're eating in weight gain, you cannot expect to be super lean while you're eating in weight gain, right? If you're looking to put on muscle, you're going to have a little extra fluff. It's just the way that your body is going to work. But what's going to happen is you're going to gain the muscle, and then you're going to go down into maintenance, and then you're going to lose the fluff. But we're talking long-term, guys, right? Like this isn't like, oh, I want to get bikini ready for the summer. No, but if you're somebody who has like big, like I want to look like a physique model, that's more where you're looking to be. So the other thing, again, I'm going to just stop sharing this and I'm going to let John talk a little bit because he did mention Sagi's meal plan, and I'm putting that in quotes because it's not a separate meal plan. Okay. It is the same kind of like container system, but for a different goal. And so I think maybe his post, and I had him delete his post the other night because I didn't want it to confuse people. And I wanted to wait until we could like talk about it on here tonight. Because again, I didn't want people to read his post and be confused or like wonder if they should be eating using Sagi's plan. So I'm going to let him talk on that a little bit.
Yeah. So, when Body Beast first launched, Sagi did have his own program. It was different than everything else. It was based on weighing your food and yada yada yada, kind of more traditional. But then when Autumn started to do the container system and stuff like that, all the programs went to it. So now Sagi's plan is just like every other plan. It's based off the containers, but it has its own set of calculations. So for most of the other program specific nutrition guides, it's based on your weight. So if you're 160 pounds and you want to lose weight, then you eat in X bracket. But for the Body Beast nutrition, it's based on a few things. It's based on your sex, it's based on your body fat percentage, and what your goal is, I guess you could say. So, and then there's different brackets. So there's kind of 2 different calorie levels. One's higher calorie, one's a little lower calorie. And then it changes based on the phase of the program. So there's high carb one, a couple phases, and low carb, high protein other phases. So I guess it's different structurally than some of the other programs in that sense because it does change and it's based on a few other things, but it's still a container-based program. But as I'm sure Katie can speak to as well, when you're trying to build muscle, it puts you in a high carb program because when you're in a surplus, you don't need as much protein. And then the carbs are obviously great fuel for your workouts and for building muscle. So it's kind of like a total swap from most of the other nutrition guides,
right?
Because it's a lot higher carb.
And I'm going to jump in here and say, even if you're somebody looking to build muscle, unless you're doing a heavy weightlifting program, whether it be Body Beast or do you even consider Lift 4?
You could do it with Lift 4.
I guess Lift 4 or 80-Day Obsession.
Yeah, I mean, Body Beast and 80-Day Obsession would be the 2 off the top of my head that I would say Body Beast nutrition could be applied to and work very well. But some of the other programs, it could work, but you're probably going to gain more weight than you might like to because they're not as intense. They're not as
You're not going to
Focus
use
on
as
muscle
much of
building.
that fuel
Yeah.
for your workouts. So
Yeah.
it's going to stick around on your body, basically. And so it's just really important to know, guys, like it also depends like what kind of workout you're doing, how you're going to calculate your bracket. So one of the ways that Autumn has you calculate when doing Ultimate Portion Fix is like the intensity of your workout, right? So it's either like intermediate or advanced, or you're not working out. So the reason for that, like with 80-day obsession, you got an hour-long workout every day lifting weights. That's more of an advanced program. You're going to eat a little bit more. It's going to put you in a little bit higher calorie bracket if you're doing 80-day obsession versus a 21-day fix, right? Because those are 30-minute workouts. 2 days a week, they're like active recovery, yoga, Pilates, where you're not going to burn a ton of calories. So it'll put you in a little bit lower calorie bracket, right? And then also, so March 2019 is when Ultimate Portion Fix came out. Up until that point, guys, and a lot of you maybe don't know this if you haven't been around long enough, but up until that point, each fitness program had its own nutrition program. So there are still some programs out there that if you go in the program materials, if they were created before March of 2019, there's going to be like a little bit of a separate kind of meal plan. Most of them are all at this point, like John said, they've turned them into the brackets with the containers and stuff. But like with Shift Shop, right, it's a 3-week program.
Yeah.
And as the workouts get more intense, your carbs go down so that you're like shredding weight really fast, right? So that's specifically written for that 3-week program. With Core to Force, it was kind of like that too. So the first week you eat normally, the second week you add a fruit, the third week you add a fruit and a carb, and then the fourth week you go back to eating normally. So some of these programs have a little bit of different eating plan attached to them. So if you're interested in seeing what they suggest for that specific program, if you go into the program materials on Beachbody On Demand, when you open up the program, there's like a little button on the side that says program materials. It'll be in there too. Okay, so there's not a lot of programs like that. 80-day obsession is kind of like that because they do want you to eat in timed nutrition when you're doing 80-day obsession. You don't have to be successful with it, but it's a suggestion that they have. And that came out in January of 2018.
And I remember when that came out, I was like, man, this time nutrition stuff, it's kind of funny. I'm not big on it. I still eat like that to this day. I mean,
yeah.
it's a little different. It's not, I don't stick to her containers, but I still eat every 2 hours. Like, it's just like, that's normal to me.
Yeah.
If I don't eat after 3 hours, I'm like, oh, somebody feed me.
And you kind of follow the whole, like, she puts specifically like more carbs before and after your workout and things like that. And so he still does that. And that was what, 3 years ago.
3 years ago now. It was over 3 years ago now.
Yeah. So, like I said, there's a lot of programs out there that do have specific meal plans, but they all follow the same concept of balancing your macronutrients basically, and, eating the amount that you're meant to be eating. Right. So, I'm going to pick on my mom again. I know I already said it, but like she was a plan A girl all the way. She's like, no, plan A is that's my plan. That's where I'm always going to be. And I'm like, Mom, you need to eat more because you're stuck in this plateau because you're not eating more. And guess what? She's got freaking abs right now. And yeah, abs. I'm also going to tell them she's 54 and she has abs. I don't have abs. So
I don't have abs right now.
I'm just saying, guys, trust the process. Like I'm not kidding you. I fought with her it's been 2 years. I've been telling her probably since I bumped up in brackets when we did 80-day obsession. I've been telling her, okay, Mom, you got to eat more because that's what I did and it worked for me. Do it.
And that was not an easy conversation either.
It wasn't. It took me a really long time to feel comfortable going into that plan. But
don't let her sit on a high horse because she struggled with it too.
I said I was always a plan A girl. I am the first to admit it. I was wrong. And now I don't want you guys to be stuck in that wrong mindset for 3 years and then finally switch over and be like, damn, I should have listened to Kristen sooner. Because I say it all the time, damn, I should have listened to John sooner. It's one of the very few things that I will ever say that about is my nutrition. I should have listened to him sooner. But for real, guys, just make sure you're eating enough. And if you feel stuck, please don't ever hesitate to message me. Message John and just chat with us. Like Nicole messaged me the other day and asked me a question about like, okay, well, when am I going to be ready to switch brackets? Like I've been eating in Plan F. I'm, getting close to where I should be for moving down a bracket. When should I do that? Right. So if you guys have questions like that, please reach out. Like, please. And if I don't have an answer for you, I'm going to get one for you. Right. Like I'm not perfect either. I don't know everything there is to know, but I have connections where I can find it out. Right.
Yeah. And the last thing, it kind of goes for everything with the fitness journey, but I didn't mention it way up at the beginning when Kristen was listing things that are involved with nutrition, but time, like it all takes time. And especially if maybe you've been under eating, maybe you've been that 1,000-calorie 4 salad a day girl, and you jump into a plan that is different, and maybe you're supposed to eat, in plan B, which is what, 15 to 1,800 calories.
Yeah.
And that's a big change for you, but it's also a change for your body. And there might be a couple weeks or a month that you notice some changes that you're not a big fan of, like
bloating.
Yeah, maybe you bloat, maybe you gain a few pounds because of the change, but the long term, it's all about the long term. It's all about the long game. That is where you will find success.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, once your metabolism decides, hey, I'm being fed now, I'm going to start going the other way. Let's get rid of some fat. We're being active. We want to build a little muscle. And that's when things start to happen. So
again, it all comes down to trusting the process. Believing that Autumn knows what she's talking about. She is a certified nutritionist. She's not just making this stuff up. She doesn't just think that the colored containers are pretty. There's a reason for every single thing that she put into her meal plan. So I'm looking over here at my notes, and there's a couple of things I forgot to mention, guys. So one, I had mentioned earlier, that you don't have to be perfect, but also not letting one slip up mess you. Here's the other thing. The difference between doing really, really good like Monday through Friday and being spot on Monday through Friday and then eating like crap all weekend, that's not being 80-20, okay? And some people are like, oh, well, as long as I'm in 80-20, I feel pretty good. Like if 80% of my choices are good, I feel good about where I'm at. That's fine. One, that's better for maintenance. You're not going to be seeing big changes if that's your mindset. If you're just looking to maintain where you're at, that's great. That's actually like perfect. You want to eat an 80-20, have a donut here and there, whatever. But if you're looking to make good progress, 80-20 isn't for you either. But the difference between eating great all week and eating like crap on the weekends and doing that over and over again, that is yo-yo dieting, guys. That is not going to get you anywhere. Your body is going to get confused. It's going to mess with your metabolism, and that's not going to get you anywhere. But 80-20, if you're following 80-20, it means like maybe with one of your meals, you have a little bit more of a carb than you're supposed to. Like, oh, I only have a half of a carb left, but I have a whole carb. Or, you put some whipped cream on your yogurt that you're having, or, you know what I mean? I did that the other day. That's why I said that. But like, it just means that you're not being perfect all the time, and that the majority of your choices are the right choices. And then you're like having a little bit extra here or missing a container there, but not being like 100% spot on. It doesn't mean that, every eighth day or every eighth day you can just go buck wild. That's not how it works. Does that make sense? Like what I'm saying, the difference between the two things? Okay. And then again, guys, if you're like really going gung-ho and you're like, I really have X amount of weight that I need to lose in this short-ish period of time, using the food list and keeping it to the upper 1/3. Okay. If you're eating in the top third, you're going to be getting the most nutrient dense foods. That's how Autumn words it. Again, if you watch through the Ultimate Portion Fix video, she's going to suggest all of these things to you. But it's just kind of me trying to reiterate all of that. Okay. And then the last thing is, a couple of people messaged me this week that were eating in Plan A, and they had put all of their food into like a MyFitnessPal app or something. And they were eating well below 1,200 calories, like 1,000 and something calories. Okay. So keep that in mind too. If all of your veggies are spinach and lettuce, you're not getting a whole lot of calories from your vegetables, okay? And a lot of brackets, that's like 4 or 5 servings, right? So 4 or 5 of your 32 servings for the day is like no calories at all, right? And then same thing with like your fruits. There are certain, more nutrient dense or more calorie high foods that would make more sense for your fruits and things like that. So every once in a while, it's not a bad idea to be like, okay, this is what I'm kind of typically eating in a day. Let me actually calculate what those calories add up to, and just kind of getting an idea, okay, am I doing well enough? Am I really in that bracket? Or do I need to make some changes as far as like the food choices that I'm making within my bracket? Does that make sense? I know that adds a little extra work, but just kind of checking in on yourself every once in a while to make sure that you truly are eating enough when you're eating enough. You know what I mean? You're eating all of your containers, but is it truly enough calories?
And all of the plans, correct me if I'm wrong, but all of the plans now account for recover every day that you work out, right?
Yeah, so it's a freebie. Right. So it kind
It's
of
a freebie,
of assumes that you're going to be
like if you're not on recover, that's 120, 130 calories a day.
Is it?
So that
Is it
adds
that
up
much?
over the course of a week.
Yeah.
Just something to consider.
Right. So, and it's not like go out and find something that you want to eat for 130 calories, but maybe eat a little extra protein on the days that you're not having recover. Maybe 2 of your protein servings, do a serving and a half instead of doing 1 serving or whatever. But yeah, they call it a freebie, so it could be why people are calculating a little bit low. But yeah, that's something to take into consideration too. Okay. And again, like I said, guys, if anybody has questions as they're trying to figure out their own stuff for themselves, message me and we'll chat. But does anybody have like questions, or like, did something we said not quite make sense, or you want us to add something? You guys can unmute yourselves if you have anything to say at this point.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm kind of glad that I was able to jump on, because I was talking to Nicole, it was yesterday, and she was like, just checking in with you. How are you doing? And I was like, oh my God, like I ate like Chinese food. Like I still like measured it, but I still felt so guilty like about eating it. How do you start to like move like out of that mentality? Because that's like a mentality that I have carried with me ever since like I started like gaining weight initially in college.
Yeah, so that's just something that you have to work on yourself, having a better relationship with food. And the way that you get there is by you had that Chinese last night, you told Nicole about it, you owned up to it, and you moved on with your life, right? And the more times that you do that, the easier it's going to get. But the only thing is you kind of have to like make sure you don't get too comfortable eating those foods, right? Because then it happens more often. So maybe for now you say, okay, twice a week or once a week, I'm going to allow myself to have something like Chinese food. I'm still going to try to keep it within my portions, but I'm going to have that little bit of a treat, and just be like okay with that.
Yeah, because you know what, like if you do like look at the menu, like they do have healthier options, and you can measure it if you're careful, Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good. I mean, it sounds like you at least attempted to containerize it, which is a good place to start, and that's kind of a good headspace to be in, instead of just like, filling a white styrofoam thing to the brim and just eating the whole thing and like, hey, 1 Chinese food meal, all right. So that's good too. Like, just kind of, obviously it's tough because with any prepared food, it's super high in fat, and that's where a lot of your calories come from. But it's good to be able to look at it and say, okay, this is 2 servings of noodles. Maybe there's enough for 1 serving of protein. I'm going to have some Chinese broccoli, so there's a veggie. Like, it's good to be able to just kind of say that a little bit and have a rough idea of what it is, so you're not just like, woo.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing, is like not throwing it out the window and being like, I'm going to have Chinese, so I'm going to stuff my face full of it, but still trying to contain the amount of treat that you're eating. That's, I mean, I think that you're right where you need to be. And if you ever kind of fall out of that, talk to Nicole. She'll whip you right back into shape. She'll kick your butt.
I literally love it. I told her, I was like, you inspire me every effing day.
She inspires all of us every day.
Yeah,
Stop.
For real, it's
I'm a
crazy.
crier. Don't y'all make me cry on Zoom.
I love you.
I love you, Michaela. But like I told you,
okay,
though,
so
like, it's so. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kristen.
no, you're fine. Katie asked a question in the chat, and I just want to cover that really quick because it was something that I thought about as I was showering tonight that I needed to mention. So the difference between bulk prepping and then prepping each individual meal. So like some people make this way more complicated than it needs to be. You guys don't have to write down like, I'm going to make this recipe for this meal and this recipe for this meal. That can just be a lot. So honestly, what we do at this point is we cook up, well, not anymore, but a lot of chicken, turkey burgers, beef, things like that. We'll have all that stuff prepared. A couple veggies for sides, maybe some rice, maybe some sweet potatoes, maybe some potatoes. And then as we eat our meals, we'll say like, okay, I feel like having sweet potato and asparagus and chicken, right? Or maybe instead you want rice and a turkey burger and zucchini and squash. But like whatever you feel like, it's all ready to go. It's all prepped. It's not set out as meals for me already, but everything's ready to go. I just shovel it onto my plate in the portions. Is that what you meant by your question, Katie? Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's a lot less involved. It's just kind of like a mix and match scenario. So at any given weekend, Sunday night, I'll cook up a couple pounds of lean beef, a couple pounds of turkey burger, maybe put something in the crock pot for a protein, whatever. And then I'll throw some sweet potatoes in the oven, or a lot of times a little quicker, I do rice and some whole grain pasta and just, cook up 6 cups of each, so that throughout the week, and then whatever, veggies. And so throughout the week, when I go to work, I pack at least 3 meals every day. So it's always a couple spoonfuls of rice and then some chicken and some asparagus. And then the other 2 meals are maybe some noodles with some beef and a splash of pasta sauce on top. And that way it's not Sunday and you're prepping out, 35 meals throughout the rest of the week, and you're sticking them in individual containers. And there's nothing wrong with that. If it works for you, that's great. That's what I see a lot of people that it works for.
One, if your fridge is big enough for that.
Yeah, you gotta have a big fridge.
For me, the thing that I struggled with when I was prepping like that is I would get to my meal and be like, I don't feel like that veggie, right? So, and for me, I eat like, this is going to sound bad. I eat for pleasure. Like, I don't want to eat just because it's good for me. Like, I want my food to taste good. I want to enjoy what I'm eating also, right? Like, there's a happy medium there. So for me, it just works better to like prep a bunch of stuff and then eat what I feel like eating when that meal comes.
Yeah, have the options.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot easier. I find that method is easier for me too, because I'll meal prep and then I'm like, shit, like I don't actually want that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've eaten a lot of food that I didn't want to eat over the last couple of years.
Do you guys freeze that prepped food? No.
No.
Typically we'll cook up like a half a week worth of protein, and then like Wednesday night or whatever we'll cook up some more protein so it doesn't go bad.
I mean, sometimes, but quite honestly, a lot of people get really freaked out. Some people, your sister doesn't even eat leftovers, won't touch leftovers. So that's difficult for some people. But some people are like, okay, 3-day-old chicken, nope, throw it in the trash, gone. 4-day-old sweet potatoes, nope, it's gone, it's too old.
We're like, has it been a week yet?
If it passes the smell test, it's going in my mouth. And that's how it works. And I have eaten chicken, beef, turkey that have been in the fridge for 5 or 6 days for years. Never had a problem. And I'm not saying eat old nasty meat. I'm just saying like meat lasts forever.
Throw that disclaimer in there. Do not eat that.
Yeah, don't eat rancid meat. That's not what I'm saying. But we have these crazy technological advances called refrigerators, and they're really cold. And they do a really good job of keeping things cold. So like you can freeze your stuff. If you're worried about it, toss it in the freezer if you have the freezer space. That's perfectly cool. Take it out, zap it in the microwave for an extra minute, whatever. But we've never had a problem.
Right. One thing I will say too is I get a lot of pushback of like, I can't afford to eat healthy. And I totally get it because I felt that way too at first. But like if we find chicken or turkey burger or something on sale, we usually stock up on it. Right. So
Yeah, a lot
if
of
it's on
times,
sale,
yeah.
instead of buying 2, we'll buy 4 and then put 2 in the freezer,
Yeah.
you know?
And then sometimes they get eaten. Sometimes they get
And sometimes
freezer burnt,
they're
and
in the
they're
freezer
gone
for a couple of weeks and whatever.
a couple years.
All right.
Years.
Quick question. Sorry if you've already covered this. I was also in the mid process. I happened to have a work emergency at the same time that you guys started this, so I've been
It's
trying
okay.
to multitask. So I've been trying to talk with my mom about, she's a vegetarian, but I have a problem when I cook my veggies and I like put them in the fridge and whatnot by like day 5. Also, like you guys, I don't have a problem eating chicken. My boyfriend is like, it's been 2 days, and I'm like, nah, it is 2. But they get soggy, and I don't know if like I'm cooking them wrong or like, and I like, it's fine. I like mush them up with my like, it's like baby, like it's like whatever. I'll just like eat it. It's fine. But like, do you guys have a suggestion of helping, or is that just the reality?
Yeah,
Well-
keeping your veggies from getting. I mean, one thing that might help is letting them cool completely on the counter
Yeah.
before you cover them up and put them in the fridge.
Oh yeah, I definitely don't do that. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, done.
That was going to be
Right.
my
A lot of
suggestion
times it's
too.
like, oh,
Yeah.
they're hot. Put them in the thing, cover them, put them in the fridge, and then all the condensation in it does make them mushy. So that
Mhm.
could help. But some veggies just get a little mushy after a while.
Yeah, my favorite are bell peppers and peppers, and I love them when they're like slightly crispy. And then like by day 5, I'm like,
Definitely
Meh.
let them cool.
I'm like, should I just drink it?
Blend it up.
I think Katie had something to say.
Yeah, so one thing that I've done that has helped with vegetables a lot is, so I do like I probably eat a bell pepper with my lunch every day. I eat it raw, so I just cut it up with my lunch. So I know it sounds like you like cooked bell peppers, but eating
I like
some
them
raw,
both, but
Yeah,
like
so-
when I go to like cook, I try to like do it all at once.
and then I do for like our dinners, I'll do steamable vegetables pretty much every night. And I mean, they take 3 minutes, and that has been a really good option for me because it's super quick. And while I'm kind of gathering the rest of the food on the plates, they're done by that time. But yeah, steamed vegetables where you cook them right in the bag in the microwave has been big for me at our house. So
John is
Do you get them
anti-those.
frozen?
yeah, no, I have fresh green beans that you can steam in the bag.
Right, those steamy bags.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, Amanda says you could try putting like a napkin or a paper towel at the bottom of whatever storage vessel you're using.
Oh, Shauna has a good suggestion too, and I believe she's referring to the peppers, but try roasting them in the oven instead of
Sauteing. Yeah.
sauteing
yeah.
them.
Okay, yeah,
Or
that's
put
a good
them in the
idea. I
air
haven't tried
fryer.
that.
The air
I was
fryer
gonna
is
say,
the
I don't know who
key,
just said
like-
that, but the air fryer, like if you reheat them, that's what I do.
Mhm.
Like it depends on the veggie, but like I made Brussels sprouts and they're low
Dude,
key a little
yeah.
soggy, so I put them in the air fryer and they're crisp and delish.
Oh yeah, we have an air fryer. Okay,
That's
okay,
my
ladies
jam.
and John.
There you go. See, we're learning.
Yes.
Brainstorming. Here we go.
We all get to learn from each other.
I love it.
Okay. And then Amanda said a napkin to absorb the moisture. That's a really good trick too. And I know Katie she was on her Instagram stories talking about this the other day, but if you get like lettuce or spinach that's in like a plastic thingy, box. Yes, in a plastic box. If you fold up a napkin and put it on, like you open it up, put it on top, and then flip it over so that the napkin is catching all the moisture. Yes, that will allow your spinach and your mixed greens to last longer, for sure.
Yeah, it almost doubles the life of the spinach.
Mhm.
I think it
Yep.
is really good.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
huge tip.
even
I
keeping
had
it dry,
we
it
used
makes
to
a
do that all the
huge
time, and I
difference.
totally forgot. And then I saw that on your stories, and I'm like, when did we stop doing this? Like just 1 week we forgot, and then it never happened again. I don't know.
All right, one more question about am I on mute? No, I'm not.
Nope.
Okay. One more question, and I'm sorry if you guys, again, I've been like multitasking lots
That's
of
okay.
all of my screens. So I usually either go to Hannaford's or I've like this, like, I don't know, it's like Market 31, it's Hannaford's trying to make more money, whatever.
Right.
And the veggies there, I find I try to buy those big bags because and I feel like if I just hold it in there, it starts to, like, the bottom starts to rot after like even like 3 days. It gets that wetness. do you guys have a suggestion of maybe, because then I'm like, okay, now I'm throwing, it's like I buy them just to like, I don't know, compost. Like, is there a way that you
What
guys
kinds of
find that you can
veggies?
make your greens?
Oh, like
So I
spinach
get
and
the,
stuff?
I personally really love the like, yeah, it's like the spring mix. It has, and then I do spinach, and I like to just mix that all together in my salad.
Yeah, so it would probably work in the bag too, just to be a little trickier. But if you can get it, I mean, the box isn't as convenient because it's rigid and it takes up more space. But you can probably do the same thing that Katie's saying. Try to put a paper
With the paper
towel
towel.
in the bag, maybe give it a little shuffle, stick it down to the bottom or something in it. It should help.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
Get
I love that.
space.
I'll
Or
try
you
that.
could dump it out into like a big Tupperware
Yeah,
bowl.
that's
Yep,
true.
that's true
You could
too.
swap
That's what
containers.
I've done before too, because sometimes you just get the bag stuff, but it does. Yeah, it could probably work in a
put-
Tupperware.
Yeah, the
Maybe
bags
it's
definitely
Ziploc
don't last
baggie.
as
Yeah,
long.
the bags don't. Yeah,
What's that, Augusta?
Ziploc baggies. Someone else
Ziploc
just
bags.
Right,
commented.
or swap
Yeah.
bags. Yeah.
Oh, Ziploc. I just saw the little comment. Ziploc bags. Okay, I don't know why I just haven't taken the time to freaking Google this, but like you guys are better than that.
You just spit all over me.
What is marriage without that?
Right. Oh man. Okay. Anything else, guys? Because like I was hoping to keep this to a half an hour for you guys, but
Well, it's only
hopefully
only
you
27 minutes
felt
over.
like it was worth being on the call.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I will say one thing. Obviously, this is Coach Kristen, and she opened up her inbox to all of you, but my inbox is always open as well.
He's more of a
Like,
sciencey guy.
Yeah,
I'll give you a
well,
quick answer. He'll tell you all the science
I like
behind it.
the sciencey stuff just because I've been a little involved a little deeper in that aspect. But like, I literally have people DM me, like random people from random groups that I'm in, and ask me nutrition questions. So that's
Oh, okay.
that's not helping me.
Can I
any.
say on a different, totally different?
Go ahead.
This is totally unrelated, but I have a couple of friends that follow John just for the updates on things of like me versus I don't know, remember your colleague's name, like
Russ.
the one that is
Russ.
Russ. Yeah, you guys know.
I love those
You
updates.
could
I
just
kind of
have,
hate
like,
them because they're
Your
I
own
love 'em.
Instagram.
Yes, follow me for nutritional advice and
I have
updates.
shared a couple posts,
about
and he's
my
like, "Yeah, I
coworker
literally follow John for just that."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. He's gonna get fired one of these days for something he posts about his shitty coworkers, I swear.
Sorry.
Oh man.
But anyway.